Oh, the weather outside isn't frightful, but the weather inside is less than delightful. All I can say to you is, Mr. Stomach, please don't blow, please don't blow, please don't blow. Man, it's been a rough weekend. Um, I had my first solid meal since, shoot, Friday, maybe 9 o'clock at night. No, that's when I went to sleep. But yeah, I am fasted. It wasn't my choice, man. I got violently ill on Friday. It's been a tough December. I mean, last December wasn't no fun either, but I was only in the hospital for the one day for getting the arrhythmia. I don't think anything else drastic happened in that December. Um, but I got cardioverted last December, but this December, um, I had my social worker visit on the 3rd where we went to the old folks home. I'm just calling it that. I don't know what to call it. It's just a 62 and over apartment community where they have 7 apartments set aside for people with disabilities under 62, which I'm never probably ever going to live there. But that's where I wanted to live. But once I found out that, I didn't have a shot at 67 apartments, just 7, and the crazy advantages of living there, where you only have to pay 30% of your total living expenses to live there if you're in a certain economic bracket, which I fell into. And I'm like, oh, I'm paying 34% of my income just to for the rent here. So it's like we cripples, we may be crazy, but we ain't stupid. We ain't gonna give up no deal like that. So that 50-person waiting list thing's just kind of ridiculous. But I went through my pilling cycle and got my new bottle of pills today, like I was supposed to. 90 volume. Supposed to take 3 a day. And I had 29 pills left over, so because I got sick, I thought I was going to have 31 left over. I was saying 33% reduction. But 29 pills that I didn't take out of a 90 script, which more or less I started doing by accident. Um, the first time I noticed, I think I had 17 extra pills. Like, what the hell? There's a lot of pills in this bottle. Um, I was, the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. I had no idea that I was tapering subconsciously until I was like, oh, let's count them out. And I'm like, I'm 17 pills ahead. I was just taking them when I felt like I needed them. That's all. And yeah, but I've been sick the whole month, man. Like I said, from the 5th um, till like I just ate my first solid meal in 3.5 days minimum. I've been eating like yogurt and this is gross, but taking a yogurt and sticking a bran muffin in it. I'm like, stomach, if you can't handle that, well, we're gonna have to get a divorce. But anyways, I had this idea in my head that I would I would do like a Christmas video, but a special kind of Christmas video for people that have to spend Christmas alone like me. And there's probably some people out there like that, but I don't have the voice for it. I don't have the stories, and I can't drink coffee. Coffee seems to, this is an anachronistic reference, but coffee speeds me up from 33 to 45. Not to 88, but the old turntable thing, um, with what they call them, vinyl. I remember we had the record player that I had only played 45s. I had Snoopy and the Red Baron. I remember that one, and that's the only one I remember though. Um, and then I moved through. We moved through to 8 tracks, which you get a long song on 8 track, and it just stops in the middle of the song, and then it has to switch tracks, and it's like you're jamming, and then it's like the modern day equivalent of lag. We're enjoying. Oh, this is the action part of the movie. Wait, and it just stops playing, and it says loading. You know, it's the modern day equivalent of that. And then you go from the 8 tracks to the cassette thing, and sometimes you'd have your tape deck or your tape recorder or whatever eat the tape. And the same thing with VHS, and you could tape it together if you did it carefully. I don't know if it was good for the heads that read the tape. But then we moved into the CD age, and boy, did I get that wrong. Because I was like, at least it's the same songs. I mean, they don't sound any different. I mean, you know. Then I found out that, oh yeah, you could put like a lot more stuff on a CD. And then I didn't. Then there was the whole storage media issue. It's like the world changes so fast. It's very alarming, you know. And I was watching a TV show on Netflix because what the hell else can I do? Called Black Mirror. That's sort of like a techno dystopia science fiction thing. Like, you know, they had implants behind people's ears in one episode where you could digitalize memories. You know, it would record your senses, and then you could play it back over top of a screen. You know, and like this guy had an interview, and the interview didn't go that well, and he had a sneaking suspicion that he didn't. So you have this little external device that turns on this thing that records all your visual and auditory experience. You know, like exactly, not no tricks of memory there, just an exact replica of what happened. And you know, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that was a bad interview." But that, and then they had another thing in there that was interesting, where this was very fascinating, a brilliant piece of writing, where this woman's wife, or woman's wife, woman's husband gets killed, and not that I'm against same-sex marriages, that's just not how the story went. But the husband gets killed, and this friend turns her on to this program where they can. There's a company that takes all your online social media material and creates sort of like a cyber ghost that you can talk to help you through the grieving process, supposedly. Now, spoilers on that one, but they took it to the ultimate conclusion of it, which was she had like she was having conversations, and it was her husband in a way, but it wasn't her husband. It was her husband's social media online persona. Sorry about the noise. Uh, you know, so it was him, and they could recreate his voice, and he could have conversations, and it would be things that he would say in response to her based on what his online material was. So, she was using that, and she kind of got addicted to that, and they were like, well, you know, there isn't another option. Because you start out, first you just start out like emailing, you know, and it's like, it worked for her. It was saying things that her husband would have said. And then it was like, you can talk. to me on the phone if you want to. And, the cyber ghost says, she says, really? And so she starts talking to him on the phone. She gets addicted to that. And he said, well, there is something. It's kind of creepy, but there is something. There's another step you can take if you're willing to. So, of course, a big crate comes to her house, and there's what do you call it? A cybernetic doll in there, and she had to activate it by putting it in a bathtub and unwrapping it, and you know, it molded itself to the features of her husband, like automatically, because it's a TV show, and but she had to wait, and it just come walking out of there naked with its hands over its junk and says, this is feeling a little awkward. You don't have any towels for me or anything? And it looks just like her dead husband and sounds just like her dead husband. But then after hanging out with the dude, one of the funny parts of the show was her husband was like a two-pump chump. But this guy was like, she got all drunk and she was like, grabbed his area and said, well, does this work on you? And he goes, yes, I can turn that on and off at will. And he was like, see? So he got a boner, and then he didn't have a boner. And he was like, I can bring it back if you want me to. So, he was a machine in bed. And, she felt really weirded out by that. But then she gradually realized, that the online person or the online material never could equal like her husband, and the spontaneity of how he would act. He was always like deferring to her, like, do you want this or do you want that? And it just, after a while, there was a little bit more to it, but that was the basic gist of it. But that's some pretty brilliant science fiction stuff. I mean, yeah, it's been done before, but not quite in that way, where it was actually supposed to be a beneficial program to help grieving people deal with that separation and loss. But, we had the Westworld series after all, with realistic, what would you call them? Cyborgs? I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, I had this brilliant idea that I would get on here and distract people from being alone on the holidays while I'm alone. But I got a bad throat. I got a bad stomach. My head's not particularly clear. I have no coffee to turn me up to 45 RPMs. And I just feel pretty bereft of stories. My life right now is basically choking down Meals on Wheels, saving up money, and waiting to have enough to move out of here and to start my life somewhere else. Restart it. And still hope for that knee surgery. And as far as the benzo thing, pretty confident that I can handle that. I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't want to be on that stuff any longer than necessary. Some informed person has been posting on a couple of my videos and explaining that it's not about the amount that you take, or it's about your individual response to it. But the one consistent thing is the longer you take them, the longer it takes to get off of them. So the sooner I'm off of them, the better. So yeah, I'll taper here, even under this highly stressful situation. And I wasn't intending on doing that, but I'll do that. It's a feeling of accomplishment, man, when you are on benzodiazepines and you got a bottle of 90 pills, and at the end of that pilling cycle, you have almost 30 left over at 29. And it wasn't even like I said, it wasn't a conscious thing. It was like, well, there seems to be a lot of pills in here, and then I counted them out, and I had 17 extra pills. Before I even knew what was happening, I was doing it unconsciously because I wasn't, you know, I was just taking them when I felt like I needed them. And there is a day or two recorded in this pilling cycle. Sorry, I can't help but make that joke. That where I say I'm taking 4 today instead of 3, and then I've been taking 2 a day. Well, I mean, I really haven't been keeping track, but I just know that I got 29 pills left over. I like I said, I really haven't been keeping track. You know, um, I just take them when I feel like I need them, and yeah. So I'm really not, you know, mm, really not exactly a ball of fire, obviously. And who enjoys long pauses in a rambling monologue style, machine gun mouth type of dude? I mean, what's enjoyable about that? Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just an idea I had. This is like, I swear to you, this, I don't know how many takes I did of this. So, I was like, I tried, my voice won't let me, and just not that interesting. And I even tried to extrapolate in one of the takes on the ridiculous size of the parking lot. That was the pitcher plant parking lot story with the black ice. And I mean, that parking lot was so huge you had to cut across it, because if you didn't cut across that parking lot, you were looking at this. You were looking at walking. You want to make that straight line. You didn't want to make that extra walk, especially the way I used to walk, because I used to walk for distance. But at the same time, I was already, I think, walking. I had like a 2 mile walk, 3 mile walk planned already. I didn't need any extra, so I cut through that parking lot with all the black ice on it, and then got beat up by a parking lot. So I have been beaten up by parking lots. I have been beaten up by trees. I have been beaten up by frozen food falling out of a freezer. I have been beaten up by many things in life. So, you know, you know how they say that, uh, man, like people are playing the dozens. You must have fell out the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. Well, I don't know about the ugly tree. I think it was more like a cherry tree, but I hit every branch on the way down. I felt like I was in the Warriors fighting the baseball Furies, and not being very good at it. And I felt like I was all beat up after that. And I also ran into a tree head first and got knocked out, damn near knocked out by a tree. But I'm pretty hard to knock out. With that electric bike story where I smacked my head my forehead into the head of this tree. Okay, this is why I'm not making this a long video. I'm just saying, Merry Christmas, and thank you for listening for these long months, and appreciate all the support and whatnot. Um, I don't know what's wrong. Like I said, I've been sick for almost 3 weeks, And it just keeps morphing from one thing into another. It's like I thought I had the flu, and then I thought I was over it. And then I was like, oh, this is a lingering cold. And then I have like, get really sick last Friday. And where I can't eat anything. But like I said, yogurt and bran muffins. And I went, and people always, I appreciate the advice about healthy diets and stuff, but healthy diets cost money. And my first priority is to assemble money, not spend it on a healthy diet. I will just have to suffer. Um, I have to get out of this building. I have to get out of this situation. This lifestyle that I've kind of fallen into where I'm just laying in bed. This, this is socializing with cyber folks. And, don't even sit in my living room and just live in a house full of hate where I don't like any of the people in the building, and I especially despise the landlord. And so, yeah, eating healthy is always good advice, but you need money. You need money to have teeth, and you need. I should have did that differently. I should have said you need money to have healthy food, and you need money to have teeth to chew it with. So, yeah. Um, but no, the day will come when I move out of here. The day will come when I'm off of benzodiazepines, and whether that improves my cognitive ability, I do not know. I do not feel like I am getting any smarter. That's for sure. I don't know. As far as my desultory rambling all over the place, scattershot oratory techniques, that's probably not going to change. I ate too many books when I was a kid, so I can't help coughing up all those silly words. Those silly, unnecessary words that are so much fun to use, though. You know, you get words like perspicacity. It's like that is it's a pointless word to use. It's like something I realized about communication a long time ago. It's like okay, having a big vocabulary is good if you're like reading books and stuff, But if you want to be understood, I think I told this story before, but I read this back in when I was studying Buddhist literature. But there was a famous Buddhist monk who had a very interesting and non-PC way of teaching people about what would you call it? The Buddhist mindset. Now, the Buddhist mindset is to live in the moment, live like without thought, without what they called spontaneous mind stuff, like with me, with my bad stomach, like stuff will pop up in my mind or whatever. But this guy, instead of talking, this is a very effective form of communication. Instead of explaining to him, like, you got to get your mind into this blank state and to where you're not thinking about anything, you just smack him in the face. And, like, after you've been smacked in the face, you're not really thinking about anything, having been smacked in the face before. So, it cracked me up, the idea of this, especially being raised on this idea of peaceful Buddhist monks and stuff, that this guy would like, you want to know what the Buddhist state of mind is? Smack him in the face, He's like, when their minds would come back to him after the shock, he said, that time there where you weren't thinking about anything and you were just in the moment. He's like, that's what we're shooting for here. It's an interesting teaching technique. Oh man. But nah, I don't. Oh, easy there, hurt. I didn't want to do any uh, long rambling thing here because I don't feel particularly interesting, and my throat hurts and my belly hurts, and I'm not I don't have any caffeine to speed up the old Gulliver. So yeah. One thing I will say is I do not like the way that missing these teeth has affected my speech. Um, I don't know. I know like random words, like fricatives and sibilant S's, which is just a lisp, and things like that. But I don't know what it is about my speech, but it's not the same since they decided to go in there and with a demolition team and blow up my mouth. Um, I don't like it. I don't know if I'll adjust to it. I don't know if I will talk differently or I'm just stuck talking like this now. Whatever. It's just like one of the things on a very long list of things that I have to worry about. So, yeah, consider this the most bizarre Christmas card you ever got. So, um, I'm going to leave it at that. Wish you a Merry Christmas. I'll sign my name on it. Steve Portfrog. So, um, and let's say, may all your wishes come true, and may all your gifts be returnable, and all the gift givers leave that receipt in the box. There, that's the best I got for you. But Merry Christmas. I'm sure I will be talking to you before the new year, so I don't have to do the Happy Holidays thing. And I just appreciate that there's people out there listening, and I'm not just in solitary confinement here, whispering through a register to trying to, hey, what's your name? My name's Mo. Hey Mo, how long you been in stir? You know, I just appreciate that there's an audience out there, and I can talk into a microphone and have this platform with these miracles of technology that can also have their nightmarish aspects to them too. Um, and I'm not just trapped in here. What would I be doing? What would I be doing if I would be making you this long, rambling Christmas card? I don't know. You know, would I be sitting here talking to myself? Would I be studying? Would I be writing? Not capable of doing a whole lot else. You know, my sex drive is vacationing in the Bahamas, man. And it doesn't seem to want to come back, so I wouldn't be doing that. Uh, yeah, cat can't come in here and keep me company. I'm just so I don't know. See, now I had a good ending, but I'm never good at endings because you know the reason why. It's because I do not like to um, go back to my reality because my reality is not pleasant, and this gives me a little escape, and it's an addictive escape from reality for me. And occasionally it makes me look like a jackass, but I am I am the guy who walked into a place and his pants fell around his ankles, and instead of running back out with a red face, I looked at everybody in the place, pulled up my pants, and thank God I didn't go commando that day and just went about my business. Because I told this story before, but I had these trick pants because being poor, Salvation Army pants, but they had like a button at the top, but the zipper had no integrity. The zipper was a whore. So I don't know who wore those pants, but or what they were up to, but if that button came free, that zipper would not hold. And then I would always carry a heavy wallet and my keys and stuff in my pocket. And being a thin dude, the pants would go down to the ankles, man. So I walk into this check cashing place, and as soon as I open the door, man, that button gives way. Pants go down around the ankles, and because I'm opening the door and it's making that noise, everybody's looking at me. I just look back, pull up my pants, go about my business. I was like, man, I rode a bicycle to get here. I'm not, I don't care. I'm just glad I didn't go commando that day. That's all. Then I would have walked out. And that would be the only decent thing to do. And that was also, can you imagine that if that was the days between with cell phones and I was stunned and commando? See, that's the terrors of technology. If I was stunned and I was going commando, and my dingus got like plastered all over the internet, and they had like you know, they would have like I would be all over like various forms of social media, and they would have um, like music in the background and like a woohoo sound when the pants went down and everything. So yeah, this technology thing's a mixed bag, but I do appreciate the outlet, and I wish you, like I said, a Merry Christmas. And if you're alone, being alone is not the worst thing, man. Uh, so yeah, if you have to spend the holidays alone, or if you feel alone, or you know, I helped to kill 32 minutes of that, and I think this one's a keeper, even though those other ones were bad. Even though that, like I said, I never want to do the ending and just say goodbye, like a decent, sensible, reasonable human being. So I will say it. Adios. Tricked you.